Good evening, gang. It's Tuesday night. We are back. All right, let's see if we get a screen. Make sure you guys can hear me. Do all that. Okay, here comes my screen. There, I can see me. We mute the computer. That'd be better. All right, let's see if you all can hear me and see me. We'll go from there. Texas Raider says 5x5. Joseph Cook, Amish at Heart, Grap Rebel, Toto, Lady Luger, Scrapper, Drucker Hershey, Circe. Okay, cool. You guys can hear me and see me. Good. Happy Tuesday night. So we are now chugging on along 3 weeks into our lovely government shutdown. It's kind of funny listening to the liberal side of the aisle still trying to blame the Republicans for this. I mean, it's like, how stupid do people have to be? Oh, I don't know. If you watched the lunchtime video today, you'd realize how stupid people are. No, they're I still laugh at this. Trump needs to come to the table. No, this is on the Senate. Trump isn't a sitting senator. He doesn't have a vote. Okay. No, Trump's not going to tell them what to do. That's your job. Sorry, when you only got, what is it, one Democrat, I think it's Catherine Cortez Masto out of Nevada is the only one that's still voting with the Republicans on this. Yeah. But now, of course, as I talked about over the weekend, all the screaming, there's not going to be any money for food stamps. And there's countless videos of people saying, we're going to just go steal from the grocery stores. And there was one, and this one's something you guys need to pay attention to. They're not going to steal from the grocery stores. This one woman saying, we're just going to wait for people to push their carts of groceries uh, out of the store, and we're just going to take their entire cart of groceries. So again, pay attention, head on a swivel. Make sure when you're coming out of the grocery store, preferably go with somebody. So while one of you is loading the groceries, the other one is watching 360 to make sure nobody comes near and hopefully has a little friend in their hand. Yeah, pretty bad when we have to defend ourselves from grocery store muggers. Fun, isn't it? Then, of course, there's all the bitching about the renovations that started today on the White House, which I get an absolute. You want to talk about master trolling? They're building this ballroom that can seat, what is it, 90,000 square feet, can seat 650 people. So we're not having, you know, state events in a tent. I mean, here it is, the most prosperous country in the world, in the history of the world. And when we have state dinners, we have to hold it in a tent, right? Okay. So no, so Trump's building a ballroom that the taxpayers are not paying a penny for. It's been on private donations, companies. Trump's footing some of the bill himself, and we're going to have a respectable place to hold state dinners. Okay. But where I say he's the master troll is this: as much as the Democrats hate everything Donald Trump, what do you want to bet that the ballroom is named the Trump Ballroom? No different than the Lincoln bedroom. And so forever, they're going to be reminded of Donald Trump, right? I, I mean, talk about, I'm not even running for election. And it's like, oh, whoever, 60 years from now, when they finally elect another Democrat, and they're going to have to go, well, we're having a state dinner. It's in the ballroom. Oh, is that the Trump ballroom? Yeah, that'll be how fun that one will be. you know, but it's hilarious listening to all the leftists bitch about, oh, I can't believe he's doing that. Elizabeth Warren today, I can't hear you over all the bulldozers, everything. May I remind you that this isn't the first renovation that's been done to the White House? There's been many. Because remember, the building was built I mean, after the first one burned down, this one was built in the early 1800s. You know, so yeah, there's been a few improvements in the house, like, oh, I don't know, indoor plumbing, but all the complaining. Shall I remind them that good old Barry Obama put a basketball court in? Hmm. Okay. So I guess renovations and upgrades to the White House are okay if it's for the president's personal use, but not for something for the state. So the personal use basketball court got paid for by the taxpayer, but the public use, professional use of a ballroom is paid for privately, and that's a problem. It's the first not it's amazing to me that as much as the Democrats love to spend money, they're out bitching about something that isn't costing anything. You know, give me a break. So there was that. And then the other fun one today, gold and silver took it shorts. Was it silver was down about 7%, gold was down about 5%. And of course, there are people freaking out all over the place. Oh my God, the gold rally's over, the silver, get out. Shut up. It's like gold's up like 60% this year. You don't think there might be a little bit of profit taking? People go, you know what? I've got huge gains in this. Maybe we're getting a little toppy. I'll go move it into something else. I don't know. Bitcoin's at 108. Maybe I'll go after that. That's $18,000 below its all-time high that it hit 2 weeks ago. Maybe I'll go buy some equities. People move money. It happens. Okay. Not a big deal. Don't worry about it. When I look at it, it's like, okay, somebody just said there's a 7% off sale on the gold market today. Interested? And as I joke all the time, it's like, when's the last time you went into a store and saw something that said 20% off and said, now I'll wait till it goes back up to full price? That's the thought process people have. So that was it. All right. So there's my fun comments on the evening and what we go through. As you guys know, hopefully, we have a giveaway tonight of a Blue Eddy Pioneer NA, the first publicly available sodium ion generator. And we are going to give one of those away in just a couple of minutes. So, I showed you guys the video of this last Tuesday. Uh, it was just, it was too quick of a turnaround to try to give it away last Tuesday. That's why I did it for this week, because I wanted people to be able to have a chance to see the video, because I know a lot of people can't watch the lunch video until the evening. And then they're like, oh crap, I didn't even know there was this. So I want to make sure people had a chance. So that was the whole reason for waiting a week on it. But had to do the video that day because that was the day it was being released. So, it was a rollout video. Just ties into the same time as the live stream is. So that's what it was. But all right. So, as I said last week, to enter this, you needed to put your state in which you live in a comment and what you were planning on being for Halloween. And I also said specifically that you can't say I'm going as myself. It had to be some sort of costume. Nobody's going to check and see, oh, gee, you said you were going as Robbie the Robot and you didn't. Okay, so you could have made up something that wouldn't have mattered, but it's just one of those things I do to kind of keep some of the bots out of here. That you got to. It's easy to figure out putting a state in there, but that's when we throw something with a curveball in it. So as usual, we will do the random comment picker. I will draw a name. If the entry is valid, that person will have 3 minutes to state they are here. This, of course, must be present to win. So they have to be here on the live stream tonight. If they aren't here in 3 minutes, we draw another name. As I've said to everybody many, many times, the name in the chat room has to match or be damn close to the name that you made the comment on. All right. If it's Joe Schmo in the comments here and Joe Schmo 1234 in the chat room, that's fine. Okay, I'm not worried about that. It's when it's Joe Schmo and butterflies and pigeons that I'm not going to look up. That's not going to be the same. Saw the mods talking about this before. I will remind everybody again. I'm going to tell you when not to make any more comments. The mods will all post it in big capital letters. No more comments. If you make a comment after we say that, you get tossed from the channel. That's it. I've been asking for this for 2 years. And most, 99.9% of you guys are really good at it. And I get the feeling that the ones that don't are just trying to ruffle my feathers. So they get a chance to ruffle my feathers and never get a chance to do it again. So that's how it is. So, guys, simply put. So let's get into this, get the show on the road, and let me get into all the stuff I need to do here. All right. So we will go to sharing the screen. And that should give us the screen. I know I've got the delay that I got to deal with here with YouTube. So we will just make sure that we all can see it. There it is. All right. So on the screen there in the center is the link to last week's video. We will go fetch. We do not include replies. You guys know this, primary comments only. We do not allow duplicates. Everybody gets one entry. And we will see how many comments we have to choose from. 14, 15, 16, 1,609 comments. All right, here we go. And the first potential winner, well, the only one, potential. No Slack 97. Yeah, if you go as Chuck Schumer, you might get lynched. I'm sorry, no Slack 97. That's not a valid entry. You did not put the state in which you live in there. So, sorry. We will pick another one. Trying again. Cushman Eagle Rider. Thanks, Pinball, Mississippi Cowboy. That's good enough for me. Okay. So, Cushman Eagle Rider, that is a valid entry. You have, it is, let's see what the clock says, 8:12. You have until 8:15 to say you are here. So we are looking for Cushman Eagle Rider. And of course, I forgot to say no comments. There we go. Cushman Eagle Rider is here. What do you know? Good deal. Okay, congratulations with me screwing up there anyway, but the mods were on it. Cushman Eagle Rider, what I need you to do is email me your name, real name, physical address, no post office box, and your phone number. The email is below the video. It's below every video in the description. Pinball Preparedness at mail, the number 2 world.com. If you can get that to me this evening, I will get it off to UPS in the morning. And you're not that far from me. So my guess is you will easily have it by the end of the week. So, all right, we have a winner. Congratulations. So let me get out of all of this other stuff here. We'll stop that. Stop screen sharing. See if that works. There we go. I'm back to being me. That's a good thing. All right. So let us move on here. We will get into Q&A as per normal. You guys know how we do this. If you've got questions for me, please put them in all caps. Just makes it easier for me to find the questions that are directed at me. I don't even bother going through the ones in lowercase. So if you don't put it in all caps, I'm not even going to read it. God knows I can't read every one that comes through. So if you want to have a question for me, please put it in all caps. I wholeheartedly encourage you guys to have conversations amongst yourselves. That's the whole reason we're here in the first place, is to meet people, talk to people, share ideas, et cetera, et cetera. Just do us all a favor, keep those in lower cap or lowercase. That'll make the live stream go a lot smoother. Only rule is always been the same. Treat everybody in here politely with respect. I don't mind disagreements of opinion. I just don't want arguments and name calling. Okay, that's fine. Hey, like I said many times, I don't expect everybody to agree with everything I say. Okay, my opinions. You're allowed to have yours too. There's no problem. Just don't start it off with "you're an effing idiot." Okay, that's it. So, all right. So let's get up to the top. Well, not too far. Right after all the congratulations here, and see what's on y'all's mind. So Franklin Keeley says, "Congrats! Thank you for another great giveaway." We're going to have some very interesting ones coming up here in the next 4 or 5 weeks. I could say that there's a couple of nice new products that are coming out, and don't forget we also have the Christmas giveaways that will start after Thanksgiving as well too. So we will do. That's where we get. For those of you guys who haven't been here, that's when we do pinball trivia. So if you've been paying attention to things that I've mentioned in videos, you will know the answers to the questions. I do not make them overly easy, uh, but that's Mrs. P and I giving back to everybody here. We do a trivia question on the live stream, and then everybody gets to pick a prize, and that comes out of the membership money and whatever else comes out of Mrs. P in my pocket. So just to say thank you to you guys for everything there. So, all right, so that's what's coming up. So in regards to giveaways, Walter 8037. With this weather, can I still plant garlic? Uh, Not knowing where you are, but it's coming to garlic planting season anyway. Uh, we get this throws everybody. The best time to plant garlic is after your first frost. Okay, a lot of people will try to plant it in the spring, which is okay, but it's one of those things that likes to be stratified, likes to get cold weather. So for me, because my last frost date here is Halloween, or yeah, the first frost date is Halloween. I usually plant my garlic, or always plant my garlic, somewhere between Halloween and Thanksgiving. Let it go all winter. It'll be fine. Underground, no big deal. It, I mean, mine usually grows. I've got 6-inch stalks on it over the winter. No big deal. Even if it 2 feet of snow on top of it. Not that I'm going to get it here. That's still fine. And then I get a July harvest of garlic. So we're actually coming right into the time that you want to be planting garlic for a midsummer harvest next year. If you wait till spring, then you're probably looking at a September harvest, and you're not going to get as good of garlic because you're not going to get the stratification, unless, of course, you keep the garlic, your garlic cloves in the refrigerator all winter, but you can do that too. Prep Rebel says, "Love the cap." You guys have seen me wear this one before. One of y'all sent me this one too. I love this hat. This is great. For some reason, I can actually pull this one off. So I don't know. I think I look halfway decent in it. We shot to the bottom. Yeah, I gotta find where it was. Okay. Susan Musser, how are Mrs. P and the pups doing? Uh, Mrs. P's had a little bit of a cold for the last week. That's about that change of season's cold. I mean, we're starting to get down into the high 30s, low 40s at night, and then 80 during the day. So that was up. But other than that, this is, as I said last week, this is the kind of slow time. The gardens are all put up for the year. You're not getting into holiday prep as of yet. So, this is kind of relaxed. It's like, all right, if she's going to be sick, or not feeling well, just wants to relax for a while, I'm like, go, we got nothing else that's pressing anyway. So chill out, feel better, watch a movie, drink a cup of tea, you're all good. How are the pups doing? Pups are doing fine. We were laughing at Daphne tonight because typical border collie, she loves her tennis balls, and we buy the tennis balls by the sack uh, because she'll lose them. She takes them in the pond and sinks them, or leaves one in the grass and I don't see it, and I run over it with a lawnmower, something along those lines. So she gets extra balls. But so tonight, Mrs. before the live stream, Mrs. P was going to let her out, and she always wants to play ball in the evening. So she's looking for her ball, doing typical running around the house whining. And Mrs. P says, "Your balls are outside." She had seen two of them there in the front yard. So Daff runs out to get a ball, brings it back in the house, drops it in front of the bag of balls, which is sitting here next to me. No, Mom, I want a new one, but I brought this one in to trade for a new one. Border Collies are smart, and she's cagey. So, but nope, they're doing good. So just relaxing. Copper's over there sleeping by the front door. Laura Story, if you save seeds from a hybrid, won't they be a Frankenstein experiment later? Not necessarily a Frankenstein experiment. It's not like you're going to save seeds from a hybrid tomato and all of a sudden you're going to get an eggplant. Okay. You're still going to get a tomato. You're just not going to know what it is. And so let's say the tomato you grew this year, and I'm just going to make something up, was a hybrid between a beefsteak and a cherry tomato. Okay. And so you got all these tomatoes this year and they were really good. Let's say they were all still beefsteaks. You're going to save those seeds. You may get tomatoes that are beefsteaks. You may get tomatoes, cherry tomatoes. You're going to get whatever the grandparent plant was, because A and B combined to make A, B, but now the seeds are going to either take A or B. So it won't be a Frankenstein experiment, but it's going to be an unknown. It'll still be a tomato. It's just going to be one of the parents of the seed source. Raven Wolf, to plant garlic, do you need sandy soil? Absolutely not. What you want is more of a composty soil. Uh, when I plant my garlic, I mean, I've got very heavy clay here. Okay. And so, you guys know me, I've built my soil now 6 years from composted horse manure, grass clippings, straw, compost, anything like that. And what I will do is I will break up the soil, because I mean, even with it being composted, homemade soil, it still gets somewhat compacted. So I still get a broad fork in there, and I'll break the soil up a little bit. And then I will take and put maybe an inch or two of compost on top of it and then kind of mix that all in. So I've got a loose, composted, nutrient rich, compost rich soil uh, to grow in. You're going to plant your garlic cloves maybe about 6 inches deep, put some straw there, is usually really good over it. It's kind of like a little bit of blanket, and just leave them alone. Don't do anything to them. That's it. But no, you don't need sandy soil at all. Trust me, I've got no sandy soil here whatsoever, and I get fabulous garlic every year. Broke Stacker just wanted to share with y'all that I have 14 days sober today. Pray for me. Congratulations, brother. I know that's not easy. Uh, and I mean, from what I know is those first couple of weeks are the hardest to get through. And I had a point in my life where I got to drinking a little bit too much. This was about the same time everything else in my life fell apart. And then I needed to come out of that. And I went about 2 years before I decided to ever crack a beer again. And those first couple of weeks were the hardest. And all I remember was I was drinking iced tea by the pitcher. I mean, I get home from work and I drink a 2 gallon pitcher of iced tea a night. Yeah, that was it. Because you're so used to drinking something and having something in your hand. I get it. I've kind of been there. Uh, keep up, and if you need help, make sure support. Make sure to go get it. I did that too. It worked for me too. Circe, pinball, making cranberry and apple wines using juice. Can I add cranberries or apple slices for flavor or no? Jug and airlocks on the way. Yeah, you can. Uh, I mean, if you're using the cranberry juice or the apple juice, that should have plenty of flavor in there. You can throw the solids in there too. The only problem that you're going to get is then you're going to, not that you shouldn't do this anyway if you're making wine, but you're going to have to get some clarifier because, and that's what I've got going in my muscadine wine right now, because the clarifier, think of it's kind of like kale and clay. It will bond with any of the solids that are in there, and you are introduced. This is after it's done fermenting. You're going to have solids, even if they're microscopic, come off of the apple, the white of the apple, the meat, or whatever it is, and get in there. That clarifier will bond to that and make everything sink so you can get a clear wine. Would I do it? No. Can you do it? Sure. Country Humans Network. How far do I think silver and gold will fall? Was this folks selling paper gold and silver? I think a lot of it was paper gold and silver. I think a lot of it was also profit taking. And I can't fault somebody for profit taking. Like I said, I mean, when you're talking 60% runs in 10 months, I mean, again, precious metals has been the number one producing asset of the year. It's outproduced Bitcoin. Sure, there's probably some equities or whatever that have outproduced it individually, but it's not like the market indexes have done it or anything. I mean, my best performing stock this year so far is Ford, believe it or not, as boring as it is. But Ford's up about 33% since I bought it here. It's like, okay, I'll take that. Gold's doubled that. And so I can't blame people for taking profits, but yeah, I think some of it's getting out of the paper. If you guys don't know what paper gold and silver is, it's like buying promissory notes. Okay. Oh yeah, we'll sell you $1,000 worth of silver. We're just not going to send you the silver. You own it on paper. Okay, it's not. And the stories I hear is that for every ounce of gold that's been in existence, it's been sold somewhere between 9 and 11 times. So that's where you get the problem. People are going, okay, if I can't take physical, I want out. And you can't blame them there for that. How far do I think it would fall? That's really a crystal ball question, because there's nothing you can do technical analysis on it, and I mean that would bring silver back around 44, 45. Gold should have a lot of support right around 4,000. But I mean, that's trying to pick up on the emotion of the market. There's no fundamentals. Gold doesn't have earnings or anything like that. So it's that's still kind of a guess. And I have my guess is, again, guess is we'll probably see a bounce off of this because we're supposed to get CPI numbers this week, which however they turn in to be, they'll say it's 3%. I've heard the actual numbers around 5. I've done the math, and I think the actual numbers are around 9. Comparing inflation to gold and silver. So we'll see how that all plays out. My bet is you will probably have a lot of bargain hunters go back in and grab some here after today's sell-off. So I don't expect it to go down much further, but don't hold me to that. That's my expectation. Rebecca Woosley, can I recommend a good, affordable water purification countertop unit with affordable filters? Okay, affordable is kind of quantitative, so that's hard to get. I mean, I know people love the Berkeys, uh, and I mean, the one I like is the Idaho one. I think the filters are a lot less expensive. It's the one. I mean, I've talked about this a few times. I showed you this maybe about 2 years ago when it was it that long ago? When we had the train derailment in Palestine, Ohio. And that was when I got the purifier out and I went and got a pitcher of water out of the pond and purified it there and showed you that. So that's still my favorite. But again, the downside is that uses electricity. It's a reverse osmosis charcoal filter, whole 9 yards. Where the Berkey is a gravity one. If you want electric, I'd go with the Idaho. If you want gravity fed, I'd go with the Berkey. Uh, was the other one everybody likes? Alexa Pure or something, I think is the other one. I don't know much about it. I've got a mini Berkey, which stays in its box. Uh, that'll be used in an SHTF event in emergencies. The Idaho one is the one I use uh, when I need purified water, like when I'm making wine or when I'm making beer or something like that. Other than that, I'm on a well. I'm drinking it straight out of the ground, just running it through a regular filter into the house. So, best I got for you. Uh, Lady Luger. For the first time, I bought some junk silver yesterday, and today the silver price went down. Yeah, sure. I mean, trust me, it's happened to everybody on buying something. It's gone up, it's gone down. I mean, think about all those people that bought Bitcoin a week and a half ago at 126. Okay. And watching it go down. I've had stocks I've bought that have done that. It You're not day trading it. Okay. So don't worry about that. If you're buying junk silver, my guess is you're trying to save it for an SHTF event. And of course, if that never happens, then you hope you get some appreciation out of it. Okay. Well, you've got the SHTF event covered. And I don't think you were buying it to sell it today and go, oh my God, look how much money I made. So it sucks. I'll give you that. You're like, oh, why couldn't I waited another day? Hindsight's 2020. I can't tell you how many times I do that. I'll I'll buy, I don't know, pick something, a stock, and it'll go down right after I buy it. I'm like, if I would have waited 5 more minutes, great. Nobody's got a crystal ball. Delta Prepper. Have I ever grown amaranth? Drought resistant, great survival grain. No, I have not. So that one I'm not going to be able to say squat about. Brian Beckus. What is my favorite, most comfortable little friend? And what am I going to be for Halloween? Two questions for price of one. My favorite is definitely my CCSPO one. It's on the 75B platform. That is just the most comfortable in my hand. I've got bigger hands. I'm a bigger guy. Okay. Uh, I like the angle of the grip. I like the feel of the grip. Uh, that is my go-to sidearm by any way, shape, or form. Uh, but it's not a real good one for concealed carry because it is a full-size 9 millimeter. For me, for a concealed carry, the Smith and Wesson Shield Plus is what I use for concealed carry because while it's smaller with an extended mag on it, I can have my pinky finger still hold so it's not flopping in the wind. Okay. Uh, and I can fit it in jeans pocket. I don't wear skinny jeans, so don't worry about that. Or a pair of shorts or anything like that. So it's very easily accessible. It's just a pants pocket. Keep it in a holster inside my pocket. I'm good. Done. Work fine in an inside waistband holster. I'd be golden with it as well. Those are my two favorites. What am I going to be for Halloween? Uh, the group of friends here We all have a Halloween party that'll be on Halloween night because it's Friday, and we have decided we are all going to camp. So it will be, for in my case, BDUs and everything like that. The old battle dress uniform that I wore in the army. That's what I've got. Mrs. P's got. I mean, I bought extra sets. I've got plenty of them. In case we have an SHTF event, I have enough where I can outfit other people in them as well. Uh, but so that will be a boonie hat, you know, boots, whole lanyards. I'll look like a out of the army again. That's basically what everybody's dressing as. That's their idea. So we'll probably get a picture and I'll share it with y'all. Ronald Simmons, thank you for being a generous dude. No problem. The whole point of setting up this channel was to help everybody. And if I've got the ability to do something that helps you guys, I do it. So that's all it is. Brad Miller, do I know anything about the rumors of Glock discontinuing some models of their handguns? No, I don't. However, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me uh, if they don't discontinue the model, maybe re-engineer it because they're getting a lot of bad press with this Glock switch. And what was I told you guys about it last week? Was it California that made it illegal to sell Glocks in the state because of the switch? So, while some people, gang members, may think, hey, it's really cool, as a company, they're going, this isn't what we designed this for. We don't want this. So they're going to, my guess is that's, I haven't heard anything about this. If I had a guess, again, if they're discontinuing something, it's because of that issue. That would be my guess. Kitsy Witty, do I think the Fed will lower interest rates soon? Yeah, we've got a Fed meeting here at the end of the month, uh, next week, and I would bet we're going to see another 25 basis point cut. Uh, Even though, the excuses we're hearing right now, oh, we don't have any economic figures because the government shut down, so they're not reporting all this sort of stuff. It's not like everything's changing. You can pretty much tell about from the non-government agencies, University of Michigan study or something like that that's quoted all the time. You know, ADP's payroll reports, jobs numbers. You can go off of those and go, okay, you know what? We got the numbers that we need. Yeah, we're still going to cut. So, yeah, my bet is we see another interest rate cut next week. My bet is that Trump and Xi Jinping do come to some sort of agreement on this tariff issue, and you see a massive rally starting in the market probably late this week, beginning of next. Uh, no, no Sage, Jason backwards, Jason forwards. How about that one? What's my take on the EBT benefits running out in November? I've done a couple of videos on this already. And as I said, this is a tough one because I get that there's a lot of people that are on Section 8 housing or on food stamps or whatever for good reason. Okay. A single mom, let's just, I'm going to give you this. Let's say mom and dad had a kid goes shipped off to Afghanistan, gets killed, and mom's going, now I'm 26 and I've got a 3-year-old. Yeah. Okay. There's certainly reasons for food stamps to exist. No question. You get, retirees and stuff like that who've started to outlive their savings. Inflation gets them. Yeah, I get it. The issue where I have is the people who it's a lifestyle. I'm a third generation EBT collector. Really? Okay. I quoted in one of the videos 12% of the American public is on food stamps. That's ridiculous. I mean, 1 in 8 people are on food stamps. It's the largest welfare program in the world, and the taxpayer winds up paying for it. I think we need a complete revamp to the food stamp program. I like the idea that they pulled here over the summer. No more buying sodas, no more buying potato chips and stuff like that. No, it's supposed to be there should be a list of specific foods. And I know some people go back, it should be government cheese and powdered milk. No, okay. We can't go that far. But there should be a specific list. You can buy chicken, ground beef, pork chops, whatever, that sort of stuff. You can buy spaghetti noodles, rice, you know, prepper staples. That stuff you can buy. No Twinkies, no Mountain Dew, none of this. And then the other part you get is how to combat the thievery of it. I mean, I was in the grocery store end of last week or something like that. And as I walked in, I noticed a sign in our grocery store, just 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper right at your entry the store that said on there specifically, do not give your EBT card to somebody else. It is a felony to share your food stamps with somebody else. Yeah, it is. Okay. So we need to have some sort of way to verify this. Have a name on the card. Show me ID. You're Mary Smith. Show me an ID that says Mary Smith. Something like that. Because otherwise, it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I need $20 for gas. I'll give you $30 worth of food stamps if you give me a $20 bill. Here's my card. And that's what goes on. And it's more than just gasoline they're selling it for. I need cigarettes. I need weed. I need a bottle of booze. That's the sort of stuff. So my take on the EBT benefits, S. Chuck Schumer, because the blame for that falls directly on him too. Okie Ranch wife, kudos for my Bohemian sauerkraut recipe. I used 3 pints of it and 1 quart of home canned potatoes for soup. Tasted wonderful. There you go. Yeah, I mean that's soul food for me. It was boiled potatoes, sauerkraut, Polish sausage, maybe some pierogies on the side as well, some mustard for the Polish sausage, and I'm gold. That's soul food. Fastball 2611. My opinion on how long the GOP can hold out against the Democrats. Again, I'm going to guess you're talking on the shutdown forever till next election. I mean, I was talking with a friend of mine who lives in D.C. today, works at the Pentagon, or worked. He's on furlough right now, I guess. But and we were talking about this. He goes, I don't see the shutdown ending before the 21st, which is what they've been trying to get it. Okay, which is a month away now. We've already been doing this for 3 weeks. I said, my guess. I said, if they can't fix it by the 21st of November, we're not going to see anything till the beginning of the year. Because once you get to the 21st of November, then it's Thanksgiving, then it's the Christmas break for Congress, then it's New Year's, blah, blah, blah. You got Hanukkah, the whole 9 yards in there, and they're not going to do anything. So it's the first of the year. And as much as the Democrats are trying to blame the Republicans on this, even the public is going, no, this is the Schumer shutdown. So if the Democrats have to cave. There's, if the Republicans do, they can kiss 2026 goodbye. That's it. Because the public is siding with the Republicans on this one. Too much public. Because the shutdown doesn't affect most of us. If you're a government employee, okay, sure it does. Maybe if you had to stand in line 15 minutes longer to get on an airplane, sure it does. But most people don't have to worry about that. You're collecting food stamps, yeah, you will. I don't have the figures on how many food stamp recipients are conservatives versus Democrats, but it's not that big of a deal. Life goes on. Everybody, The grocery stores are still open. The electricity's still on. You can still put gas in your car. Your paycheck still hits your bank account. The internet still works. The sun still comes up in the morning. You know, the only people that think that the government is necessary, people that work for the government. The rest of us are going, you're just in our way. So how long can they hold out? Till next election. I mean, and if they do, I'm fine with that. Figure out how to pay the military, figure out how to get the benefits. As long as the military gets paid, Social Security gets paid, and the people that need SNAP and Section 8 get paid, I don't care about the rest. Gee, the Smithsonian's going to be closed for a year. Oh well. Uh Seriously, going to make grape and berry wine later. Yeah. Okay. And I forget who said it before about being 2 weeks sober. You guys do not need to be talking. That was it. Carolyn Robbins, are you going to collect money for the animal shelter for Christmas this year? Yes, I am. Uh, Again, usually we start that after Halloween, so I'm going to wait till not next week's live. Yeah, we will do it as we always do. It'll be for the food bank, for the Toys for Tots, and for the animal shelter, and then I will put up the survey. I don't know what you want to call it in on the community board for y'all to chime in as to how you'd like money distributed. Uh, I think what did we wind up with last year? I think it was like 50, 30, 20 or something like that. And I'll let you guys decide. But we'll start that right after Halloween because the distribution of stuff is, and I've still got to get a hold of kids, but the distribution is usually the first week of December when the parents come pick up gifts, when because the food bank here is only open every other week for one day. Uh, so I've got to get with them for what specific dates are. But yes, we will be doing that, and yes, we'll start that in 2 weeks. And I'll go over all the details of how we're going to do that. Pamela Couch, what is my dog's name? How many pets do you have? Love your morning show. Thank you for the morning. Thank you for the compliment on the morning show. How many pets do we have? We have two dogs. The border collie is Corgi is Copper. And Daphne we've had since she was 5 weeks old. We got her on a working farm down in central Utah. Copper is a rescue that was going to be put down because he was with two families and was like I said, mean. And you could tell what happened is people just treat him right because he's the sweetest little dog. Yeah. He was just afraid of people. I think people too much. You get kids around some dogs, they want to pull ears and stuff like that. And at the beginning, he didn't want to let us pick him up or anything like that. He didn't want to be touched. Now I sit there and play with him. Remember, he's blind. Okay. Now I'll sit there and play. I can grab his snout. I can pull on his ears, do whatever. He thinks it's just playtime, not hurting. It's playtime, and he's going to be Daphne will be 10 years old in December. Copper will be 14. So yeah, and they're still slowing down. But I mean, Copper's blind, so he can't run anywhere. Uh, Daphne still chase the ball, chase the squirrels, chase the deer. God knows whatever. If there's something out in the yard, she's after it. So yeah. Robert Pickard. But pinball, I tell him they're definitely smart ass. We can go do that in the liberal channels. At least there you'd be telling the truth. Okay. Let me check to the bottom. Trying to find where it was. Sorry. Okay, as far up as I can get. Mama Shiner, can you use chicken poop in a garlic bed? Uh, yeah, I don't see why not. Again, as long as it's not hot, as long as it's composted. Yeah, fine. Just more, good organic material. Danny 925. I have a quart jar of sugarcane syrup that broke its seal. Would that be good in my compost tea barrel? Ah, wow, that's it. I can think of pros and cons. If it was me, I'd say no. And just for the simple reason is, I mean, obviously your compost tea barrel is sealed and stuff like that, but you get all that sugar in there, and you're still going to attract bugs. You're going to have ants trying to climb into it. And if I don't know if you live in an area like I do, but if the bears smell it or something like that, it could turn into a mess. I'd probably say no. If anything, if you want to use it, dump it on a compost pile. If it gets mixed in the compost pile and ants get your compost pile, who cares? But because your compost tea is a much smaller deal, flies, ants, you don't, that makes much more of a mess. You probably can. I don't think it's a practical idea. Uh, Vicky Savage, I found something I think you would like. It'll arrive next month just because. Oh, all right, Vicky, what's coming this time? You're gonna be the death of my gardens. Let's see. Von Mousetrap, am I planning to attempt carrots again? I attempt carrots every year. I have I try something different. I tried different varieties of carrots. I've tried different soils for carrots. I've tried different locations to put carrots. I can't grow carrots, and I will probably try them again. Though I don't know, Mrs. P and I may not do much next year. We've already talked about probably not going to plant next year for the simple reason, as I mentioned this before. A, I want to let the gardens rest. Uh, but B, I've got so much canned food. I've got to eat some of this down. And 'cause I don't have any more room to store it. I mean, we get to the point, Mrs. P's like, we don't have any more jars. We don't have any place to store it. It's in cabinets. I've got an entire room full of stuff, and I've got a kitchen counter that's covered in jars of jelly right now because I've got so much of this stuff. So we've got to eat down some of our stockpile before growing more of it. So yeah, anybody that says you can't survive on what's in your garden, yeah, you can. Okay, not everything. It's not the only thing. Obviously, we still eat beef, chicken, pork, and eggs, and that sort of stuff too. But I can't tell you the last time I bought vegetables. The boring introvert. What's your opinion on mulching versus bagging leaves? I have sandy soil. If you're talking about mulching, as in back to Eden gardening and put it on top of your soil and stuff like that, it works. It just takes years to do it. Okay. And so, by the time those leaves compost, now I throw my leaves, so I shred my leaves and then I throw them into the garden and let them compost right on top of the garden all winter. And then I till them in. Bagging leaves, if you want to bag leaves, that's great. Learn how to make leaf mold. Okay. Uh, Pretty simple. Pack a bunch of leaves in a trash bag, spray them down, get them wet, take a picture for it, put holes in the bag, go let it sit in the shady area in the back of the yard for a couple of years, and you'll have great leaf mold in there, which is great to add to the garden. That would be the other thing to do. I'm not a big fan of the back to eat gardening just because it takes way too long. But if you've got sandy soil, obviously you need to get a lot of organic material into it. Grass clippings and leaves are the best thing. Throw it all in the garden area over the winter. Let it sit there in the spring, till it all in. Plant next year. Do it all. Your soil will get better and better and better because you're giving that nitrogen and that carbon into the soil that sand just does not have any nutrients for you. In the kitchen with Grandma CC, have I heard of structured water? It's supposed to be very good for you. Never heard of it. Water in general is very good for us. So, but no, I've never heard of structured. Seriously, how to eradicate Canadian thistle? Willing to let that rest of the season? Uh, I don't know what Canadian thistle is. If it's anything different than normal thistle, uh, I mean, sure, you could probably use Roundup or whatever it is. But I'm guessing if it's like regular thistle, your only option is to be to pull it uh, and then go from there. And then if there's anything left, put a pre-emergent like a crane on top so it won't come back. But yeah, that sounds like it's like regular thistle. You got no choice but to pull it. Lalabama. Where is a reliable, honest place to buy physical silver online? The coin shops around us are sketchy. Said many times, I use SD Bullion. You can also buy from Money Metals. You could buy from APMEX, APMEX. Just look to see who's got the best sales. Not like the spot price for silver is any different, but what premiums they're charging on that. Like I get a lot on SD Bullion. Go look on Doc's Deals. Every Monday morning, they put out a list of stuff that's on sale that they've got lower premiums on. Typically, the premium's been pretty high lately. If I can get something that's less than a 15% premium, then I figure I'm getting a good price. Uh, but sometimes with those deals, you can find $1.99 over spot or something like that. You look at that. That's where we are now. That's less than 5%. So look around for the sales. But SD Bullion, JM Bullion, APMEX, and Money Metals are the ones that I will buy from most consistently. Steph L, I won that water filter last night. It's got to be the Idaho one. Uh, Ron Simmons, did I know that Elvis Presley was also a prepper? No, actually, I didn't. Let's see. Janet Dufresne, I heard 50 ounces of silver will make you comfortable on the other side of the crash. What do you think? Well, if it does, then I'm in good shape because I got a lot more than 50 ounces of silver. Uh, yeah, I mean, 50 ounces of silver right now is 2,500 bucks. Uh, so thereabouts. I don't think it's much, but if silver goes to $500 an ounce, then it's 25 grand. So I personally think you need a lot more than 50 ounces of silver to cover what you need. Lori Martin, I just started a new job, so I'm sure 401k will be available. Little leery of the stock market, too young to take out my old 401k for when unemployed. Better to buy silver with that. First off, if you've got an old 401k with the previous employer, the first thing you need to do is do a rollover of that into a IRA. Okay. So go to Schwab or Robinhood or whatever it is, open up an IRA account and then do a rollover from of that old 401k into your IRA. That way you're not paying any taxes on it. It's still a retirement vehicle. You have control over it. The big difference with that is now you can buy anything you want in an IRA. You're not limited to just the 6, 8, 10 mutual funds that your former employer picked. So if you want to buy gold and silver in your IRA with that old 401k money, you can. Okay. You can buy a gold ETF or something. You could do that. You could buy Bitcoin. You could buy shares of Microsoft, whatever you want to do. That's the first thing. Do not leave money to the former employer, because if that former employer goes out of business, you're going to have a hell of a time getting your 401k out, even though it's held by Fidelity or something like that. There's all sorts of goofy stuff. You want to have self control over that. They have no need to keep it there anymore. You're not getting any contributions. Move it to where you are self driven with it. That's the first. A 401k is available, but you want to you're not sure you want to do anything with that. Again, this is the same thing with an IRA. You can make your contributions to your IRA when you're saying you're too young. Guess that you were, what's it, 55? Maybe it's 50. I'm not sure. But you can contribute, because I know Mrs. P can contribute $7,000 to her IRA, and I can contribute 8,000 to mine because a year because I'm older, so I get the extra $1,000 for a catch up contribution. Uh, Depending on how old you are, you will put in $7,000, $8,000 a year in your IRA. Granted, you're not going to get any company match. So, there's the other thing to look at. If your company matches dollar for dollar, that's free money. If your company says we offer you a 401k and there's no match, then you're better off putting your money in an IRA. Uh, so if you're talking about saving for retirement, get that old 401k moved into an IRA, invest in what you want, and what the new company offers in the 401k, then you can decide whether you want to be in 401k or in the IRA. But you got to kind of work through all what's offered to you. Holy crap! It's after 10 o'clock. Whoops, sorry about that, Jason. All right, guys, that's a Tuesday night. We will see you in the morning. Have a good one. Pinball.